Good morning, everybody. Jim Feist and Hank Goldberg here from Las Vegas. It's the beginning of the Masters today. Hank, good morning.
Morning. Kind of weird to watch the Masters with no gallery.
And in November, I was at the Masters in 2000. It's an unbelievable place. I've never seen a golf course that looked like that. It's unbelievable. It was a lot of fun, but times are different these days. I hope you're staying healthy and, like me, staying in.
Yeah, well, the governor has ordered us to stay home.
Yeah. Well, the cases, we're almost at, we're damn close to 200,000 cases a day throughout the country, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the outgoing president says that they fixed it.
Well, I don't know what
among as many lies.
Right. Yep. It's been brutal. It's definitely been brutal. We do need to fix this. The problem is everybody's doing in Europe and everything, and nobody seems to come up with an answer. It'd be great if we can get a vaccine that works.
Well, they got a vaccine. They came up with one this week, and it's 90% effective.
Which one was that? The Pfizer one?
Yeah.
Well, now we just got to get it injected in people's bodies. That's going to be a job. Let's hope it happens in the next 90 days, 120 days or something.
Well, it is going to happen.
So,
you have to get two injections.
Yeah, I read where it has to be kept at 95 below or something like that. It's pretty amazing how they have to do that. Science is great. Well, talking about last week we had the Breeders' Cup. Were any surprises that you saw?
No, not really. The classic, Authentic. Baffert told me about Authentic being his best horse at the beginning of the year, and he had an easy lead, and nobody ran with him, and the track was playing very fast. So I had the exact. I paid $18. I gave out 4 horses, and 2 of them. Baffert ran first and second, and the only disappointment. It's funny, I was talking to Joe Brown yesterday, who used to be with the NFL, and we both had Tom DeTot, who's owned by the Saints people, and he said, I think we made a sentimental play there. I said, yeah, I think you're right, because he didn't fire at all, and that's the horse I liked, actually, of the 4 that I picked. But I picked 4 horses, and 2 of them came in. Actually, 3 of the 4. The third horse that came in actually was a long shot that's trained by a good friend of mine, and Stanley Huff, and so I was happy to see that. He's a good front running horse, and he didn't fade too much, and he ran third and made the trifecta a fairly good price. Right. I had the winner of the turf. That was pretty easy. I ran first and second in that one. And the 6th race, I had a Euro horse who was 25-1, who won, and the exacta came back $498 for $1.
Wow!
So that made my day.
Sure did. Now, last week you mentioned a trainer came out of Europe that on turf.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Aidan O'Brien.
O'Brien, right?
Yeah, I said that a friend of mine said that you should bet all of his horses. Well, in the third race from the end, he had a 73-1 shot called Australia, who won.
No kidding. 73-1. Oh my God. Oh well, I hope you had money on.
If they were listening to our podcast and they played the O'Brien horses, I think he had 3 winners on the day, including a 73-1 shot.
That's incredible. Wow. Well, switching to football, we have a football game tonight, and I'm kind of surprised at this line move. Maybe you have.
Pick 'em.
Well, actually, I'm looking at the screen right now, Hank. It's the Colts are now 1 everywhere.
Yeah.
Why so much money coming in on the Colts?
Well, Tennessee hasn't played that well the last 3 weeks, and the Colts are. The Colts have a very offensive and good defensive lines, and of course last week they got beat by Baltimore, but they've been playing very well. They rank in the top 5 in defense on both sides of the ball.
And last week they didn't have T.Y. Hilton. This week they have him back.
I don't think they're going to have him this week either.
Is that right? Let me see here.
And Rivers did not have a good game last week. He reverted to his old form where he threw a couple of picks, and they were shut out in the second half by Baltimore. So, but now they got to go on the road to Tennessee. But Tennessee has kind of been an unusual team to watch this year. Like last week, they won. But not all that convincingly. Henry didn't have a big game, and for that matter, neither did Tannehill.
You're right. Actually, Chicago actually did pretty well, but that was a lot of.
Well, Chicago is terrible.
They're a terrible team.
And Chicago did nothing. Chicago had no offense whatsoever.
No, they're only good.
Now they're playing a team that has a little bit of offense. No, Chicago had no offense, none. Their defense played well, but their offense is lousy. They have no running game whatsoever, and it's time to put Trubisky in, but he's hurt, so he's no help. And their quarterback stinks. They have no offense, none. Their yardage was. That's why Tennessee won. They were playing a team with no offense.
Yeah, the Chicago. All they've been able to do is play defense this year. Do you put a lot of that on Nagy, or do you put it on? I mean, obviously you can't put it all on the quarterbacks. It has to be some of the play calling and coaching.
Well, he has no quarterback. I mean, they have to. First of all, they have to have a quarterback who's a threat to do something. Otherwise, they're not going to respect the play action, and I don't think they ran for 100 yards last week.
And now they got to play.
Their defense is getting a little disgusted.
Well, yeah, of course.
And they're playing like it.
And this week they play at home on Monday night against Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota's got the running back who's having a tremendous month.
Sure.
The problem with Minnesota is that their quarterback is 0 for 9 on Monday Night Football.
Oh, man.
Cousins, I'm talking about.
Right. Yep.
Never won on Monday night.
And division, and
by the way, that's a record.
No, it has to be. Yeah, it would have to be. The division home dog. Well, I'll give you a stat there, and I'm sure you know all the stats, but I'll just say it here for our listeners. Division home dogs, which the Bears will be, are 12-1 ATS this year.
Well, Foles, last week Foles threw the ball 52 times.
Wow.
And they can't win with him doing that.
No, it's they don't have the offensive tools to do that, and they need a balanced attack. They need to run the ball. They need to play a lot.
By the way, they have a lot of injuries. The Bears.
Yeah. That's going to be a tough game to handicap. Well,
as long as Minnesota can run the ball, I don't see them winning.
Yeah.
By the way, that's a record. they're going to be fine. Dalvin Cook ran for 206 yards last week. Cousins is 0-3 against Chicago, and the Minnesota, when they play Chicago in those games, they've averaged 12 points a game.
Well, that would indicate a pretty good play on the under.
Yeah, that's true.
And it did open 44.5, and I just saw one place go to 43.5, two places go to 43.5. The rest of them are 44. So there is some under money. And of course you got the Bears. There is the possibility of weather there. It's going to be windy in some places on Sunday, and it could carry over to Monday. I'll have to check that weather. Pittsburgh, of course, has got this is a pretty bad COVID week for them. They're not even on the board.
Not only that, but the quarterback has 2 injured knees. He may not be able to play.
And when that game opened, it opened 9.5. I bet the Bengals, and then they took it off the board after the COVID thing came out. I don't know if they'll even play the game. Who knows? They might not.
They're going to play the game. That game's going to be played. There's no reason why they can't play the game. It's just that Pittsburgh has shut down the facility, but they play these games. And the problem is that, Ben, you don't know what his status is, but I don't trust it. So, and the backup quarterback,
oh boy,
he's kind of up and down. But I like Cincinnati anyway, for a lot of reasons. Mainly the quarterbacks. Like, they're coming off a bye. Last week Pittsburgh did not play particularly well against Dallas. Pollard had a big day running against them. They don't do well against fast running backs. And a quarterback named Gilbert put up some 243 yards against Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh is, they're gonna get beat one of these weeks. Now Cincinnati, Joe Burrow is playing great. He had a bunch of 300-yard games before the bye. He's got some good receivers. They got 2 good running backs, and their defense is playing pretty well. This is a team that has never played that well against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has a tremendous record against them. But I think the Cincinnati team is playing well right now. And I like them. I took them with 7.5 because I think the number's going to go down further if Ben doesn't play.
Yeah, Bengals.
You know what? With all the attention that these rookie quarterbacks have gotten, this guy might be the best of them.
Well, they talk about him and Herbert as being the 2 best. A lot of people like.
Well, I think you got the guy in Miami now who's kind of entered the picture.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
And also the guy in Arizona is as good as any of them.
Yeah, Murray, of course, he's not a rookie anymore, but...
Well, he's second year.
Right.
Not like he's been around forever.
He and Tua matched up last week, and Miami came out ahead and won that game. Miami's played... I mean, I know you're from Miami, and Miami's playing a lot better than anybody ever thought they would this year.
Yeah, well... I'll tell you, their defense isn't all that great. I'm curious to watch that game. I don't like Miami this week. Now they're favored. Let's see. They're playing against the Chargers, and
Boy.
You know, they lucked out because missed field goal. Arizona missed a 47-yard field goal that would have tied the game at the end. Their defense can't stop anybody. That's their problem. So if they get in a shootout although I know that the Chargers don't hold up, but that quarterback is playing very well.
Speaking of the Chargers, what do you think is where do you put the blame if you can put blame on them blowing so many leads at the end of their games, big leads?
Defensive injuries. They don't have Bosa. They don't have the top defensive back. They've got a lot of injuries on defense, on the defensive side of the ball. The top running back has not been playing. They've had a ton of injuries.
Got a couple games this week that have predicted high winds. 26-mile-an-hour winds in the Packers. These are, of course, predictions. They could all fold up and stop, but
the Packers are, a 14-point favorite?
Let me see. They're playing the Jaguars. They're big favorite. Yeah, they're 13.5. 13. The total has come down from 53 to 50 because of the winds, the predicted winds. And I keep saying that because the weatherman will tell you it's 23 and it'll end up being a beautiful day. You don't know this far in advance. You never know. And there's another spot, Cleveland, where they're saying 60 degrees, but drizzle and dangerously high winds. That's what it says. Dangerously high winds. I don't think I've ever seen that before. But
well, I live in Florida. I've seen it all the time.
Yeah. Well, I remember living through a hurricane or two down there myself. And that game, Houston against Cleveland, the total has gone from 54 to 49. So they are.
Well, I'll tell you something. Houston has no defense either. I mean, they played against a rookie quarterback last week, a guy named Luton, who looked like a sure under, and he put up points against them. Their defense I think, is one of the worst in the league.
You're right. It is. That place.
Now Luton is going to be playing his first start in Lambeau. I don't look for big things from him 2 weeks in a row.
No, usually the rookies will fall off like that. Any games that you are really interested in? What do you think about Seattle bouncing back against the Rams?
I think Seattle right now never plays well against the Rams. The quarterback never plays well against the Rams. Russell averages 200 yards a game against the Rams defense.
Wow.
It's not good. Not only that, you talk about a team with no defense, although they're adding to their defense. But, the game's in Los Angeles, and I just think right now Seattle's got big-time problems. I mean, what happened to them last week was ridiculous. They go into Buffalo, and Buffalo puts up, almost 500 yards against them.
Yeah, it was like pitch and catch. It was ridiculous. It was. I've never seen anything like it. No one was. There was no defender anywhere near any of the receivers. I mean, it was wide open. It was crazy.
Well, Seattle, they gave up 44 points to a team that had been struggling.
Yep.
And Wilson last week turned the ball over 4 times. Their defense, by the way, it ranks last in the league in yardage. 455.8 yards per game.
Oh, my God.
It's unacceptable.
Oh, yeah. Definitely is. And you say they're adding to their defense. What do they got going on this week?
Well, they picked up a couple of free agents, a defensive end and and I think they've got their other guy is healthy now. The guy in Adams, who's one of their top defenders. But they had a defensive end, a pass rusher.
Well, Tampa Bay is coming off a very embarrassing loss at home to the Saints, and there seems to be some tension there between I don't know if it's true or not, the head coach and the quarterback.
Well, he's been criticizing him every time they lose. And I'll tell you something. Then, for them to play a game like that, although I predicted it on television, I said that I liked them to not play well because they were coming off 3 days rest. They played a Monday night game against the Giants where the Giants almost beat them. And that was a tough physical game for him. And Brady spent most of that game getting hit. So he wasn't 100% for this game. He was sore. Now they come up against Carolina, who doesn't have McCaffrey. So they should come back strong this week. Not one announcer pointed out the fact that Tampa Bay was playing on 3 days rest. And every announcer picked Tampa Bay to beat the Saints.
That's why you do what you do and they do what they do.
Well, no, I'm not always right, but I'm amazed that nobody would point that out, even on the telecast.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty obvious one. I mean, the team had played a tough game against the Giants on the road, and 3 days later have to come back and play a team that's pretty damn good in the Saints. That was.
Yeah, I don't give Kansas City any chance at all against Tampa Bay this week without McCaffrey.
You mean Carolina? Yeah.
I'm sorry, Carolina. Without McCaffrey, Bridgewater can't carry that team.
Well, they have the other running back because McCaffrey's been out most of the year and he's hurt his shoulder last week.
Jim, last week he had over 100 yards combined receiving and rushing. He dominated the game.
He's an incredible player. He really is. He's an incredible player. Carolina has been a covering machine. Bridgewater as an underdog's been very good, but this seems like a game where...
Well, they covered last week against Kansas City.
Yep.
And it was all McCaffrey. Kansas City can't defend the run.
So it sounds like you like Tampa in this game, in this spot.
Yeah, I think Tampa is going to crush Carolina. It's a division game. And they got, they're coming off 2 bad performances in a row. I don't like, everybody raves about the defensive coordinator for Tampa. He loves to blitz. And yet that played right into Breeze's hands. Breeze kills the blitz. They were very poorly coached last week. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, they're out of... By the way, in that game, the first 4 possessions by Tampa Bay were 3 and out.
Yeah,
so it took them totally out of their run. They were out of their running game before the game barely started.
That was amazing to watch.
So, and it made Brady a sitting duck.
Yeah. Well, any other games that jump off the page at you?
Well, Buffalo, Arizona is a good game.
Very good.
Now Buffalo has to travel. I think Buffalo is going to be overbet in this game. I think, they're not going to put up 44 points again against this team. Arizona's defense isn't that bad. But Tua last week put up 248 yards, was 20 for 28. But Murray was keeping up with him. Murray went right with Tua. It was a great game to watch. watch.
It was good.
And Murray put them in a position to tie the game. They came back in the second half, and the guy blows a 47-yard field goal. And I guess a lot of the critics are not happy with the way Arizona's coach used his strategy in that game. I'd like to see Drake come back and play. I think that would help, although Edmonds is pretty good. But, they need to get a little more out of Hopkins this week, and against Kirk was their big receiver last week. But, the late game strategy in playing for the 47-yard field goal was a big mistake. And sometimes these coaches get too conservative. And that was a huge mistake. They had a fourth down situation, and instead of going for the first down, they went for the 47-yard field goal. I hate that. They had a 4th and 2. All you got to do is give the ball to Murray, and he gets 2 yards for you. I don't know what got into that. I think that coach went brain dead.
We see this a lot with these coaches. This same criticism is out there. Not all of them, of course, but some of these guys consistently do this. They just go for that long field goal instead of taking.
Well, he's not consistent that way. This was very strange for him.
Well,
but I think he lost. Seattle and the Rams, I guess, still have some interest. But I already went over that game. And Baltimore, New England. Baltimore is a 7-point favorite. I don't think New England last week. The Jets ran up
that's
big numbers on New England's defense. Baltimore should have an easy time with them. And we already talked about Indianapolis, I guess. Tennessee.
That's tonight.
Tennessee has a lot of injuries. The tight end, they got a tight end, a guard, Crookshank on defense, Clooney's out. They've got some major injury issues, and that's why Indianapolis is favored.
Any feel on the Eagles and Giants?
Like the Giants. Giants are playing well.
They have
The
been.
defense is playing well. They're scoring well. They got, considering the fact that they lost their top 2 running backs, but Jones is doing a good job, although, he turns the ball over at some bad times. But I'll tell you, the quarterback for Philadelphia is a turnover machine. They still have a few injuries. And, the Giants right now have covered 4 of the last 5 games. That coach is doing a very good job.
He has. Yes, he has. Now there's some disappointing. That's a disappointing division, of course, but somebody's got to win it.
You know something? The Giants could wind up winning that division and going to the playoffs the way they're playing right now.
That's true. You just got to get by Philadelphia and Dallas, and that's speaking of
Dallas, please.
I know it's a terrible. That's wow. And then we haven't talked about it. There's no line on the game at the moment, but Detroit is hosting Washington, and we had another really bad injury with Washington last week with their quarterback Kyle Allen, and
Detroit has got the quarterback with a problem too.
That's right. He sat out most last week with the COVID and didn't play very well.
Don't know if he's going to be back. Stafford has a concussion. He's in the concussion syndrome.
Yep, on top of everything else. It's a tougher year because of COVID. Of course, there's a lot of cancellation. Colleges. In college,
colleges.
Man.
The Pac-12 and the Big Ten and the Southeast Conference, I'm not so sure they should have played the college season. Some teams are not going to be able to finish it.
Honestly, I don't think they should have, but, it comes down to economics, and it's that battle between safety and economics. It's a tough call.
Yep.
Very tough call. Anything else going on, Hank?
No. That's it.
That's it. Well, stay well. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for your input, wisdom, knowledge, and good luck this weekend with the games.
Yeah, I got to. It's very interesting. I'm not doing well in the Review Journal, but on CBS Sportsline, I'm at 67% on my picks
Wow.
this year.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They put out a press release about it.
Really?
Yeah, I've been picking 5 or 6 games a week, and I was I'm picking 2 out of 3 winners.
Excellent. Congratulations. Keep it going. I'll be rooting for you.
Okay, have a good week, Jim.
You too, Hank. Take care. Be well. Bye-bye.
Stay well.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, everybody, you heard Hank's been doing very well. Make sure you go to our website, pick up his stuff, and I had a good week last week. My colleges were 7-2. I was did very well in the totals in the pros. I think I swept the board and made a profit in the pros, although I had a couple sides that didn't cover. But this week is a new week, and we have play tonight on the side, and we'll talk to you again later. Take care. Bye-bye.